What's going on? It's your boy Sermon at Sermon's Domain on Twitter. Since the game decided to diss Meek Mill on 92 Bars, which you can see the video in the description section below if you haven't seen my review of the song, I decided that I would ask the question, what are the game's best diss songs? If you think about it, Game might have more diss tracks than anybody in hip-hop history. You look at the fact that he put out not one but two, three, maybe even four, like five, who knows how many at this point. I don't even remember off the top of my dome, but he's put out full mixtapes going at G-Unit. That alone is like 18 songs at least. So there's that, and then there's all the random ones throughout the years. He's beefed with everybody from Joe Budden to Memphis Bleak to Jay-Z to the Young Guns. Like every single person, it seems, you could imagine. He's even had issues with like the XXL freshman artist, Lil Durk, just a bunch of names that just a lot of times feel random now. A lot of the times you hear Game going at people, and it's just really to get people look in his direction. So I wanted to go and kind of dig into the vaults and look at some of my favorite diss records from him, and then I want you to chime in the comment section below. First off is Body Bags. It's a diss to G-Unit and Tony Yayo. This came around the time that Tony Yayo smacked up Jimmy Henchman's son. He was only 14, and I know Yayo faced some charges because of that, but Game, being close with Jimmy was furious, and I think it really was reflected in this record. I remember being on the internet, because at the time, I think maybe it was either I had a computer or I was at the library, but I remember hearing this song the day that it dropped back in 2007, and I'm thinking, he's really going off. He sounds mad at Yayo. And I think there's like an interesting trend with all the records that the Game has dropped against G-Unit. It seems like he always focused on an event. Yayo smacking up the 14-year-old. So Body Bags was one of my favorites. I can still play that record to this day. Another one on my list comes from 2008. And as I said before, this also comes after a G-Unit event when Young Buck got kicked out of G-Unit. That was a very unexpected situation. And Young Buck did this record called Tape Conversation, where he pretty much addressed his side of the whole situation and being, felt like he was betrayed by 50 because he recorded this conversation and then put it out and tried to embarrass him and kicked him out of the group, not to mention that. So Game then was able to get the instrumental and make his own version, his own little remix, and him defending Young Buck and talking about how there's a G in his name and in Young Buck's name, but there's no G in Banks or Yayo or 50, and I thought that was a very clever line. I think the record really showed the hatred that the Game has for G-Unit. Just when it comes down to it, it always seems like the Game had less of a problem with Young Buck than anybody out of G-Unit. You always hear about him going at 50, Banks, and Yayo, and I'm sure there's moments in his on those mixtapes where he's talked about Young Buck, but it always seems like Young Buck gets the less of everything. So it was cool to kind of see him defend Young Buck, and I like that record. So that made my list. Another one that made my list, and a very random choice, was Palm Pilot featuring Cat Williams. This is a Young Guns diss. Now, the reason why Game was dissing Young Guns was because he had beef with Memphis Bleak, as well as him trying to bait Jay-Z by going at all his different artists. This track was on Ghost Unit, and that was, I believe it was the second mixtape that the Game dropped. But the thing about it is that Cat Williams went off on the Young Guns. I like that they pulled this one little line, and like Cat Williams is so dedicated to the Money Mike character from Friday After Next that he felt so personally disrespected and just had to go in on the Young Guns. Like, it was just great. The next one on my list is My Bitch. It's a 50 Cent, Jay-Z, and Suge Knight diss. I think this might be the best one on the list, pretty much because of the creativity behind it. instead of just going at the three in like the traditional way, he actually flipped the concept into making them women. Like it's now it's not 50 Cent, Jay-Z, and Suge Knight. It's all female versions of them, and it was funny just like to hear him kind of recreate history. Like for instance, he's talking about Jay's like come to find out the last 10 years she's been sucking Big's dick. She's always trying to dash whenever Dame's around. And you got like Suge being related to the one who tried to end Snoop and stole Chronic from Dre. Like I just like the creativity in it all. And I think those are some of the best diss records. So my bitch is definitely on my list. And the last one that I wanted to highlight is Blood of Christ. It came out as a bonus track on Jesus Piece. And I really love the vibe of it. It was just a like the beat itself was produced by Dewan Parker. It sounded so sinister, and I knew Game was gonna go off. Whether or not I knew he was going to diss G Unit and 40 Glock and Shine, I didn't expect that. But when I heard the record, I'm like, this is gold. Game is like, the one thing you can say about Game is that he's very loyal to the people that he supports. So when Shine was going at Kendrick, Game stepped in and defended him. Once again, this was also around the time the 40 Glock situation happened, where Game fought 40 Glock and recorded it, and 40 was suing him, and you know all that madness was going on. And then, of course, you got the G-Unit shots, because what is a Game diss track without some kind of a shot at, G-Unit? And the funniest thing that I always laugh at when I hear this record, he said, I heard Tony Yayo can't pay the rent. Like, I love when Game just makes up stuff. Because, there's no way that Game actually heard this type of stuff. He's just making up stuff. And it was funny. I liked it. I think Game at times has a sense of humor. And that's probably more reflected in like the mixtapes that he did. Like, You Know What It Is Volume 3 and Ghost Unit. And, the other ones that he's put out over the years. So those are just a few of the Game diss records that came to mind, and ones that I looked up on YouTube and familiarized myself with. Took a little trip down nostalgia road. So now I want to know what your favorite Game diss songs are. Let me know in the comment section below, and then like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're not already, share the video. Follow me on Twitter @SermonsDomain, and as always, thank you for your time. I appreciate you for watching, and until next time, peace.